going. I thought it was better today than tomorrow with all the costumes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
So how are you?
I'm good. It's been a hectic week. I kind of booked myself a lot, like more than I normally do in a week, just trying to kind of get caught up on some observations that weren't able to happen before and stuff like that. So it was just busy, plus with the school reviews and everything. But it's like today is slowing down a little bit, so I'll have some time to kind of just do some to-dos. But
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, what's something that you feel like is working really well with one of your teachers right now?
I was really happy with the O3 with Taffy.
Mm-hmm.
I was I think I told you before, I was kind of like nervous about it, but it ended up just being really, really good. I kind of, normally I would like start on my laptop and be kind of taking notes and going through a little bit more structured, but for her on that day, I kind of felt like I'm just going to talk. And what was really great was she kind of brought up herself, things that I was already thinking. So she just showed me this list of her students like in different tiers, and it got like really emotional. Like we were both like, she was just like, this was huge for me when I looked at this, and she had all of her tier 3 students highlighted, and she was like, my big focus, my big goal is really to move all of them up to tier 2, which we had talked about. And so that naturally led into a good conversation about small group instruction and what they need. And so we talked about that, and we have been talking about how she just balances everything and what she focuses on. So we had a good conversation about that, and how like this is your focus, and this is what you decide to do. Like all these other things, certain things don't happen, but like this is what it sounds like. This is what you're deciding you want to make sure happens every day, no matter what. So she really is making that commitment and wants to do that. And also, she had followed through on just everything we had talked about before. So it was just good to see a lot of changes. And so just with her, that different approach kind of works well. So I know she's so frustrated with like the resources, like things she wants to make happen, but she has like 6 desktops that still don't work, and she still hasn't gotten a response from technology, and we've worked on it, still hasn't happened. So some of those things are kind of that's kind of frustrating.
So she has the laptops.
No, she has 6 desktops,
but
and
none of the
not one of
desktops
them
are
work.
functioning right now. Okay.
So they're supposed to be coming today. So that's kind of been.
So she can't really get the Achieve 3000 iStation thing spinning
No.
yet in her classroom.
No, I mean, so they're able to do. I've seen them doing Achieve 3000. I've seen them doing. She does things on the Chromebooks, but she hasn't been able to do iStation and that she wants to do. So.
Yeah, and with Erica in the room with her, I mean, she probably is a great place to start with small group instruction, because it seems like she's got the awareness, and so it's now, what next? I'm wondering if we could move towards some of those scripted iStation small group lessons with her kids.
Yes, and I talked to Taffy about that, and she's not really actually comfortable having Erica do those.
Okay.
She wants to do those, especially with the reading.
Okay.
So she's okay with Erica doing lessons with writing, but I actually agree with her that it makes more sense for the trained teacher and that person to be doing those lessons.
Okay.
But yeah, that is one thing she could be doing, at least the scripted iStation that she can print out.
And if not, using Erica for the direct intervention, using
she can
her
be
as
monitoring.
the
That's what we
person
talked about,
monitoring independent practice while.
So we talked about for reading, that's what would happen, and then for writing, it would be a parallel lesson. So she'd be doing the same thing. I think in her mind, she was thinking she'd be doing this different lesson. She was feeling really uncomfortable with that. So it's like she wanted to do it, but she was just like, I don't know. But then I said, well, I think it makes sense for her to do the same lesson you're teaching. It's the same thing, but she can just do it at a slower pace, clarifying vocabulary, that sort of thing during the writing lesson for now, just so that that's happening.
So it sounds like changing kind of your approach and how you lead the conversations led to a breakthrough with her.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily a change. It was just, I mean, I've done that before, but it was, I think it'll just stay like that. Like, I don't know if it'll ever be the way I have my conversations with other teachers. So just kind of realizing that it wasn't just a one-time thing. That's just how it's going to be.
So kind of a less formal, structured.
Yeah.
Like really talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
So tell me about an area that you're worried about right now. Is there a teacher of concern, or worried about kind of how to approach that teacher to address a concern?
don't know, it's not necessarily like one teacher, but I would say in general, I'm just struggling with how to deal with issues where teachers are not meeting some basic expectations, or what I consider a basic expectation. So being at school on time, being at your duty post, submitting lesson plans, and that's a huge one for me right now, that it's like probably less than half are doing that regularly. I don't think that means that less than half are doing lesson plans. I think there's more that are, but honestly, from what I've seen across the school, it's even the lesson, I don't know, it's like an agenda. So there's not much more than an agenda. And these are the things we're doing today. Yeah. And I feel that in order to push what's happening in classrooms, students learning more, and to push execution, you have to push planning. And so if I can't even see how you're planning, then how can we be giving you feedback to push you on that planning? You know, and so I think that's a bit frustrating for me. That's frustrating for content team leaders, and I'm not sure how to drive that really with, I mean, it's been a lot of one-on-one conversations and that, but then it still doesn't happen. And I think that it's become more of just a culture thing overall, that's just like, oh, well, we just don't do this, or this isn't that important, and so you know, I'm just not going to do it. So I feel like that's the point we're at now. And so I'm not sure how to change that, or how to deal with things that are, I mean, so like for example with Amir today, I'm going to talk to him, but besides that, you know, what can I do? It's just kind of like.
So, so when you say you're going to talk to him, what about that?
I mean, I think today it's going to be a stronger conversation, but I guess we'll see. But I guess it's kind of frustrating that I haven't known about that he's been late. So
So you can start with the stuff that you know about. You know that there was a prior time that you've already had a conversation about, and what we know about today is he was not a little late; he was a lot late, and didn't text till after 8 o'clock.
Well, I think he did text Jose and his team earlier. Okay. But did he text you?
I didn't get a text until after 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think a couple of things to keep brainstorming would be around kind of, you know, we can't be in all places at all time and necessarily know, so how do we make sure that we know about these kinds of things that can kind of impact what's happening in the building.
And even if I know them,
like what next?
What next?
So, have you ever given a directive before?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with?
I mean, I'm comfortable with that, but I'm not. But when that isn't followed up on, that what next? There's no real consequence. Okay. That's what I feel is that right now there's no real consequence if you don't turn in your lesson plans, besides an uncomfortable conversation, and that has happened, and that's not working.
So I want to kind of maybe go back to the beginning of the year, and part of the decision that I made was not requiring lesson plans to see lesson plans. I made it real clear that I would request lesson plans when there were instructional issues in classrooms. And so, for example, with Alexander, we are following up, and I am now getting his lesson plans each week. And when he didn't, I went back, I need those lesson plans, and to the point where it is now a directive to get those lesson plans. So, you know, I think in thinking about your teachers, I would start with the ones that you have the largest instructional concerns about. I think Amir needs to probably be toward the top of your list, not just because he's late, but because I'm not seeing really a lesson cycle happening in his class.
I mean, it's been really challenging. Honestly, it's not just me. There's like 3 of us working with him, and now there's a fourth person.
Right.
And if you consider Dwayne, that's 5 people
Mm-hmm.
all working with him. And I feel like we're doing a lot to align and help him. And so yeah, it's challenging. But at the same time, it was like last week we had such a great meeting. He was like, you saw what was happening in his classroom. So there are definitely bright spots with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and I mean, it's kind of it's similar to what we're seeing with Alexander. Like there'll be kind of a push, but then a backing off, and and having to keep a lot of pressure. And I think there's also similarities because I'm not sure for him that the commitment's really there in the long term for Amir.
So I kind of disagree with that though, because in conversation, I mean, I don't know how that relates to these professional things because I'm just hearing about that. If he's coming late, I don't know if that's a separate issue, but I really think it's much more skill related, honestly. After the last cycle and observing him, talking with him, with Corinne, I don't think it's an issue of like he's not trying or he doesn't care. I think he really gets overwhelmed and just doesn't, like sometimes a lack of skill can look like a lack of urgency, I think. So I really, I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might be a little bit like he gets discouraged. Honestly, I don't know. It's confusing. But.
So what would be, so let's then just talk through next steps with him.
Yeah.
We've got the tardy thing. We also know there's a lesson planning thing.
Yeah, I mean, all of that's already now in motion, and now he's part of they've like added him to the Teach for America sort of special group that's going to get even more support and observations. So I don't know, more than 5 people like supporting him and helping him and giving him feedback. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to talk to him today that he just direct that you have to turn these in every week, folder, and like you have to be on time.
Yeah. So, I'm wondering if it's to a stage or something in writing to him.
Okay.
It might be the next step, particularly around the planning piece. And in a sense, you can also, you could probably kind of, the tardiness as a part of that planning piece, just planning your day, planning your time. But if you've asked for them multiple times and you're not
well,
seeing
actually,
them,
I mean, this week he had his plans.
Okay.
He had his plans.
Okay.
So I don't know I don't know, that may be a change, so it would be a little odd to be like, you have to have your lesson plans. When he did it this week, did a weekly template, but I can just, I don't know. But I guess in writing about being on time, yeah. I mean, would you do that as like a letter?
Or like could start with an email. I think it could, just start with an email and, a concern. I was concerned that you were late this morning and didn't communicate with the administration until, even though you let Jose know, it's important that you let Susan. But basically is that Susan, Rachel, Maria need to know because we're the ones that are trying to arrange coverage for classes. For sure, not just GLC, because that kind of then puts it on Jose to figure out how to cover when he has his own class. But I would just clarify that piece in writing.
Okay.
And I think it doesn't have to be something that you have him sign. It's just ramping it up to kind of more of a sense of urgency with the accountability about it. Yeah. So. So talk to me more about the planning piece, the lesson planning, because since it's some frustration on your part about
yeah, because
overall.
Even if it's not, I mean, I'm just concerned that we're not going to be like, it's a missed opportunity, just to be pushing all teachers on their planning, and I'm not sure that right now teachers see the connection between their planning and their execution.
I agree.
So.
I agree. And I think it was a mistake on my part